and consider the tools we use every day in our minds. Okay, let's unpack this. Our first deep dive question today is this. A mind all logic is like a knife all blade. It makes the hand bleed that uses it. Wow. That's a vivid and striking image, isn't it? A knife that's nothing but blade, incredibly sharp, undeniably powerful, but without a handle, it's not just dangerous, it's practically guaranteed to harm the person trying to wield it. When you hear that, what's the first thing that springs to your mind? For me, I immediately pictured how something designed for precision could, well, cause so much self-harm if not handled correctly.
That's a great initial image, and it really hits at the heart of the statement, doesn't it? For me, it immediately brings to mind the idea that pure intellectual sharpness, while, yeah, incredibly potent, needs something else to guide it, to provide that handle imprisonably. Without that, its power can absolutely turn against us, causing harm rather than benefit. It's about how we wield that intellectual sharpness, not just its inherent power. And what strikes me about it is that it's not saying logic is bad, right? It's saying it's incomplete on its own.
Exactly. It's not a condemnation, but a really crucial caution. It implies logic itself is neutral, a powerful tool, and the impact depends entirely on the wielder and, well, what guides that wielder. And our sources open with a story that perfectly illustrates this, making it all very real. Here's where it's really interesting. Imagine this. One fine morning, Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite, was sitting down to read his newspaper only to stumble upon his own obituary. Can you imagine the shock? It was a mistake. Of course, the paper had confused him with his brother who had actually passed away. A terrible mix-up. But this mistaken obituary titled him the Prince of Death, calling him the Dynamite King. This wasn't just some simple error. It profoundly disturbed Nobel to his core. It forced him to confront how his brilliant logical invention, a product of incredible scientific expertise, was primarily associated with destruction and warfare. It showed him, in the starkest terms, the devastating bleeding hand caused by his creation.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how this moment of mistaken identity forced Nobel to confront the potential for catastrophe in his purely logical achievements. His invention of dynamite, which was indeed a product of brilliant logic and scientific expertise, had been widely used for mass destruction. This wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was a tool that, without an ethical handle, had caused immense suffering. And it cemented this really grim legacy for him. The sheer power of his logic was undeniable, but its application was causing the hand to bleed, just like the saying goes. This existential crisis, this profound realization of his unintended legacy, persuaded Nobel to embark on a truly transformative journey. He became determined to change his epitaph. He wanted to go from the Prince of Death to the Prince of Peace, which is what led him to establish the Nobel Prize Foundation. This foundation, as our source notes, respects logic and rationality that does not bleed hands, but empowers them to build a better future. It's a perfect illustration of logic being given that much-needed ethical handle, a redirection of its immense power towards progress, peace, and human betterment, rather than just destruction. It was Nobel himself who realized the knife needed a grip, basically.
That's a powerful transformation, isn't it? It really makes you wonder. If you stumbled upon your own obituary today, right now, what would you want it to say of the impact you've had on the world, positive or negative? It's a question that makes us all reflect on the legacy we're building day by day. Our source highlights that Nobel's story is an epitome of human civilization. And when you think about it, our entire human journey, our evolution, it's been built on the foundations of logic, rationality, scientific temper, and pure intellect. When we look at history, the rise of powerful entities like the Mauryan Empire in ancient India, with its incredibly intricate administration and logical planning, or the dominance of the modern-day USA, driven by relentless innovation and complex economic systems, these are all profound outcomes of applying logical power to organize, build, and achieve on a grand scale. Logic is definitely the engine of civilization, but here's the crucial twist, and it's something the essay emphasizes again and again. Logic itself is neutral. It's like an operating system for the mind, right? It symbolizes rationality, knowledge, scientific expertise. These are qualities that fueled incredible leaders and thinkers, but also those who caused immense harm. The same intellectual machinery was at work in Akbar, revered for his inclusive policies, and Aurangzeb, known for his more rigid rule. It powered the unifying vision of Nelson Mandela, but also the oppressive regime of Robert Mugabe. It inspired Barack Obama's policies, but also the extremist ideology of Osama bin Laden. The outcomes, as you can see, are vastly different, even if the underlying logical capacity might have been similar. It's kind of scary, actually.
It is, and this immediately raises an important question. Why are the logics of figures like Akbar, Mandela, and Obama cherished, while those of others are condemned? Our source wisely brings in Aristotle's ideas from his work Nicomachean Ethics, illustrating that human behavior, and indeed our legacy, is ultimately guided by three core appeals: ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay, let's break those down in a really simple way. Think of logos as pure logic, the rational mind that's the knife itself, the sharp blade. Then there's ethos, which is your character, your ethics, your moral compass that's the handle of the knife, guiding its direction, giving you a grip. And finally, pathos is the emotional appeal, the passion or attitude you bring, the human element that fuels your drive, maybe the force behind the swing. It's the powerful interplay of these three ethics, attitude, and logic that truly make and break a man, or a leader, or even a civilization. Logic alone isn't enough. It needs the right character and emotional intelligence to direct it constructively. Aligning perfectly with this, Swami Vivekananda, the influential Indian monk and philosopher, famously said something like, "One needs right attitude to realize the true potential of your aptitude." So logic, as we've been discussing, is like your aptitude, your inherent skill, your knowledge, the super powerful engine of your mind. But attitude, which we can link directly to ethos or ethics, is the guiding force, the steering wheel, and moral compass for that powerful car. Without that steering wheel, without that ethical guidance, you're headed for trouble, no matter how fast or powerful that intellectual car is. The potential for bleeding hands becomes incredibly high.
So, what does this all mean for us today when we look at human progress and its downsides? The inherent aptitude of humans, that incredible logical mind, has allowed us to achieve astounding feats, like putting a vehicle on the moon, an incredible demonstration of scientific and logical prowess, right? But that exact same logical mind, when driven maybe by short-term gains or unchecked convenience, has also led to devastating consequences, like plastic polluting our deep oceans, microplastics in our food chain, widespread environmental degradation. The list goes on. It's a stark reminder of that double-edged blade.
You're absolutely right. An all logic based mind focused solely on efficiency or immediate goals might not immediately comprehend the devastating repercussions of, say, polluting our oceans. Not until the consequences literally bleed during something truly catastrophic, like an Anthropocene mass extinction, which is the idea, of a potential sixth mass extinction event driven by human activity. This highlights the urgent need for a broader perspective than just pure, unguarded logic. We need one that explicitly includes foresight, empathy, and a deep sense of ethical responsibility for the long-term impact of our actions.
That's a critical point. It really gets you thinking about how we apply our intelligence. Can you think of other historical figures or modern examples where logic alone, without a strong ethical framework, led to problematic or even catastrophic outcomes? Maybe in business or even in our personal lives. It's a question worth reflecting on, I think. Let's dive deeper into what happens, as our source describes, when logos pure logic operates without ethos ethics. The essay calls it a way to catastrophe, and it's a powerful phrase for a reason. Let's look at some real world examples. Take economics, for instance. Adam Smith, in his foundational work, The Wealth of Nations, famously noted that we expect our dinner not from the benevolence, the kindness of the butcher, the baker, or the brewer, but from their self interest. This logical pursuit of self interest, he argued, actually fuels our economy. This philosophy was given ample freedom in what's known as the laissez faire economy, a system where the government interferes as little as possible. The logical assumption was that individual self interest would, by an invisible hand, collectively benefit society, sort of a hands off approach.
Right. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, while self-interest can certainly drive innovation and growth, a mind all logic that focuses solely on maximizing profit and individual gain, well, without an ethical handle, it often fails to address crucial issues. Things like poverty, extreme inequality, and the marginalization of vulnerable populations. Our source points to the World Inequality Report, which gives us a pretty stark reality check. About 75% of India's wealth, for example, is concentrated by the top 10% of the populace, while the bottom half possesses just a mere 2% of the resources. That's staggering. Pure economic logic, with focus solely on profit, often overlooks the immense human cost and the wider societal well-being. It's the knife, sharp for profit, but bleeding the larger social body. In contrast, a mind that consciously integrates ethics aims to create a more equitable balance among people, planet, and profit, a concept that really gained traction with Keynesian economics. To simplify, Keynesian economics advocates for active government intervention, especially during downturns, to manage demand, create jobs, and ensure social welfare. It's about recognizing that markets aren't always self-correcting, and that societal good requires a guiding ethical hand to balance pure economic logic. It shows logic being guided by a broader ethical responsibility.
That's a really clear distinction. It makes you think about the daily choices we make and the larger systems we operate within. Where do you see self interest benefiting society, and where do you see it causing problems that require a more ethical approach, maybe in your own community or industry? It's complex. Germany's tumultuous 20th century history serves as, well, a generations long case study for the inadequacy of a mind driven by all logic. Similar to our discussion on unchecked laissez-faire economics, we see chilling parallels with political systems where a singular, ruthless, logical pursuit of power can lead to absolutely disastrous results. The rise of Germany under leaders like Bismarck, who skillfully used real politics, a very logical, pragmatic approach to power politics, and later Kaiser Wilhelm II, and then tragically Adolf Hitler, it was propelled by what they perceive as logical desires: scientific prowess, industrial efficiency, military supremacy. They were, in a sense, very logical in their pursuit of national power and dominance. They employed efficient strategies, advanced technology, cold, calculated decision making to achieve their goals, often with devastating consequences.
But as our source starkly puts it, the climax of such logic did not bore fruits acceptable to humankind. Understatement of the century, right? This raises an important question. What's the ultimate cost of a purely logical, power-driven ambition when it completely disregards fundamental human values and ethical boundaries? The world wars, the Holocaust, horrific reminders. What's equally fascinating, though, is that our source reminds us that the same country later replaced totalitarianism with ethical democracy after crushing the Berlin Wall, making it one of the powerful and respected countries of contemporary geopolitics. This transition highlights a conscious, painful, but ultimately successful shift to integrate ethics and human rights into political logic. It was like putting a new, compassionate handle on the knife of statecraft.
That's a powerful transformation to consider. It makes you wonder, how can a country or a political movement, initially driven by strong, almost ruthless logic, eventually shift its path towards more ethical goals? What drives that change? It's not just in economics or international politics either. A mind, all logic, can actually make the social animal more antisocial and less humane. This shows how even in seemingly advanced societies, logic alone, when misapplied or untethered from ethics, can be twisted to justify profound injustices.
Yet what's truly fascinating and deeply disturbing, here's the example of the Purusha Sukta hymn of Rig Veda, an ancient Indian text. This hymn propounded a peculiar logic, justifying the Varna and caste system. It narrated the origin of four castes from various organs of a primordial being, basically. This logic affirmed Brahmanical supremacy and the systematic marginalization of Shudras. This was a complex social system built on a particular logic that, for centuries, led to deep societal divisions and institutionalized discrimination. Our source notes that while the caste system has undergone reforms, the underlying logic of such discriminatory ideology continues to make India bleed even today in subtle and not so subtle ways. Similarly, closed social systems that restricted women's roles existed for ages, reaffirmed by various theories often presented as logical or natural that believed in functional gender discrimination.
And this isn't just ancient history. While the world celebrates logical minds, our source tragically recounts the horrific story of two Kuki women who were victims of ethnic atrocities and gang rape in Manipur in India. So, what does this all mean? This horrifying event is a stark reminder of how deeply entrenched regressive logical frameworks based on caste, gender, or ethnicity can dehumanize and normalize violence when ethics are completely absent. What good is a mind that seems all logical, capable of incredible feats, but is marred with aggressive ideas that allow such horrific acts to occur? It's a question that cuts deep.
To grapple with this, our source turns to B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of India's constitution. In his powerful essay, Grammar of Anarchy, Ambedkar asks a really pertinent question. Can the countrymen put forward the collective interest before their self-interest and that of creed? End quote. This raises an important question about where all loyalties lie. Is it individual gain or the well-being of the larger group? Is it the narrow interests of our own community or the collective good of humanity? Yuval Noah Harari, in Sapiens, offers a valuable insight that connects to this. Human civilization, he argues, thrives not just because we're logical, but because we have the unique ability to put our tribe's interests over our own. This capacity for collective action, driven by a shared vision, is key. Hence, our source concludes, logic and knowledge for self-interest shall lead to anarchy and catastrophe, but the one that pursues ideas for collective well-being shall fulfill the dream of Ambedkar. It's about channeling that powerful logical mind towards shared human goals, guided by ethics.
That's a profound thought. It challenges us to look beyond immediate individual gain. What are some examples of regressive logic or ideas that you've encountered in modern society? And how do you think we can challenge them to promote collective well-being? Having dealt with these tough questions, one realizes just how ambitious, how hungry the human mind has been. It took millions of years for Homo sapiens to simply learn to walk straight. Yet, it took only a few short decades for that same human mind to bend the environment at its own will, often with little thought for the consequences. And while we absolutely credit the logical mind for tremendous explorations, inventions, discoveries, we cannot ignore the destructive flip side: pollution, biodiversity loss, climate change, all created by the same logical mind.
Yeah, an all logic-based mind, focused purely on industrial efficiency or economic output, probably wouldn't comprehend the devastating repercussions until it literally bleeds during a full-blown mass extinction event. It's often only after years of destruction that it hits upon that same logical mind to finally use its power for sustainable development, a concept that was practically alien just decades back. This reactive approach highlights the immense cost of logic without foresight and ethics. But there's hope, and logic can learn. The success of the Montreal Protocol, for instance, which phased out ozone-depleting substances, is a testament to logical minds coming together with ethical responsibility. Similarly, India's adherence to Panchamrit goals for climate action, ambitious targets for net zero emissions and renewable energy, shows using the logical mind for a healthier environment. It shows logic learning from its mistakes and adapting with an ethical lens.
That's a really encouraging shift. It makes you think, how can we use logic proactively for the greater good, particularly in environmental protection, rather than waiting for crises? What steps can we take now? So it's not all doom and gloom. Our source reminds us that logic itself can be dynamic, it can evolve, it has the capacity to put bandage on the bleeding hand. This is really important. How does this happen?
What's truly fascinating here is the tale of empires and governance transforming from monarchies to democracies, or at least becoming more welfare-oriented. The very logic of political sovereignty has undergone a metamorphosis. It shifted from focusing just on territorial expansion to an ideal of mutual coexistence, even amidst tensions. Despite ongoing disputes like border issues or the Russia-Ukraine crisis, a global consensus for peace has increasingly been established. It's driven by a refined logic that values stability over conquest, realizing that cooperation is often the most logical path in our interconnected world.
That's a hopeful perspective, a real evolution. Can logic truly help us bridge deep political divides and achieve peace? Or does it always need that ethical nudge, that guiding hand of empathy? And not just in politics, but the very way authority is practiced has changed. Michael Foucault noted that modern liberal democracies shifted from repressive laws to reformative laws. That's a huge ethical shift.
Exactly. This raises the question, how do societies shift from punishment to rehabilitation? The transformation from, say, the guillotine to more empathetic justice systems, like in India's Bakhan Singh case on the death penalty establishing the rarest of rare doctrine, marks that transition. It shows moving from an all-logical mind focused on retribution to an ethic-based logical mind considering justice with compassion and human dignity. It's using the knife to heal, not just cut. Similarly, the resourceful mind, guided by ethics, has worked to make society more inclusive. Homosexuality, once criminalized, is slowly but steadily being celebrated. Regressive logic about women and gender has also seen a significant decline as society applies more ethical reasoning to human rights.
Our source highlights specific Indian judiciary cases showing this shift. Sucheta Srivastava affirming bodily integrity, State of Haryana versus Rajesh against the two-finger test, and Nalesa versus Union of India for transgender rights. In these, the Indian judiciary used its logical prowess and mastered the rationality not for old rules, but for profound social transformation guided by ethics. These are such important markers of progress. What legal or social changes have you personally witnessed that demonstrate logic being used for more inclusive ethical outcomes? So as we bring this first essay toward a close, what does this all mean for us today? How do we best use this powerful, all-logic mind in our complex world, ensuring it empowers us? Our source offers some guiding principles.
Firstly, Karl Popper noted that an open society is not about creating a utopia, but it is about using our powers to solve issues while restoring our rights and responsibilities. The all-logic mind needs to be the forerunner of such openness, to imbibe diversity in views. This means being receptive to different perspectives, questioning assumptions, not rigidly adhering to one's own logic as the only truth. The lack of this openness has created hostile outcomes: fundamentalism, ethnic violence, extreme polarization. Pure logic, without openness, can lead to rigid, destructive thinking. It makes the knife sharp, but blind.
That's a powerful call for intellectual humility, isn't it? How can you contribute to fostering an open society that embraces diversity, even in your daily interactions?
Secondly, Albert Camus offers a stark warning. A mind without ethics is a wild beast left loose in the world. Wow, this highlights the profound danger of knowledge detached from a moral compass. Knowledge must be consciously used to create an ethical and egalitarian world where everyone has equal worth and opportunities. The resourceful mind, our source says, shall follow the ideals of Panchsheel and not the greed of Aurangzeb. Panchsheel, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, emphasizes mutual respect and non-aggression. It's about choosing principles of harmony over unbridled ambition, ensuring our logical pursuits are grounded in moral values that benefit all.
That distinction between principled action and pure greed is so crucial. What does an ethical and egalitarian world look like to you personally, and what small steps can you take towards it?
Thirdly, and finally for this essay, the all-logic mind must ultimately cater to the collective goals of society. As Rabindranath Tagore beautifully notes, it is not Alexander who conquered the world, but Buddha did. This speaks to the enduring power of selflessness versus conquest. Alexander's empire crumbled. Buddha's teachings resonate across millennia. Selflessness has to be an inherent attribute to realize the true potential of the human logical mind. Alfred Nobel's false obituary made him realize what his logical prowess was truly capable of contributing to peace, not just destruction. This is something the world must realize globally to restore ethical order. It's about using our intellect for the greater good.
That's a truly inspiring call to action. What's one collective goal that you believe humanity should prioritize and dedicate its logical mind towards achieving right now? Wow, that was a truly profound deep dive into how logic, a phenomenal tool, absolutely demands a strong ethical framework. It's all about finding that sturdy handle for the knife-all blade, ensuring its sharpness is used for creation, not destruction. Now, let's pivot a bit, but stay firmly within the realm of profound ideas shaping our approach to life. Our next piece of material speaks to something equally vital: resilience, perspective, and the sheer power of unwavering focus. It's about how we keep going. Okay, let's unpack this next idea. Our second deep dive question today is: keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. This imagery is so incredibly uplifting, isn't it? Sunshine evoking warmth, hope, progress, and shadows representing difficulties, failures, doubts, all that negative stuff. What's your immediate reaction?
What's truly captivating is its core message: intentional focus. If you consciously orient yourself towards the positive, towards your goals, the negatives, the shadows literally fall behind you. It's not about denying challenges exist, because they absolutely do, but it's about choosing where you direct your energy and attention. It's a powerful metaphor for resilience, really.
And our source opens this essay with a truly poignant and stirring story that embodies this, that of Orville and Wilbur Wright. These brothers represent the indomitable spirits of perseverance and profound dedication to achieve their goal. Their journey is a powerful testament to keeping your face to the sunshine. Imagine hearing, "Don't waste all the money and leave flying to the birds," from the entire world. Even their own father laughed at their endeavors. That's harsh.
But the Wright brothers' reply, evident in their actions, was powerful. We have a dream to fulfill and we can make it. This embodies keeping one's face to the sunshine and not worrying for the shadow. Their relentless work, their experiments, their failures, their unwavering determination despite immense skepticism. It's a profound testament to this principle. They focused on the possibility. Our source connects this grit to Swami Vivekananda's words: arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is achieved. Keeping your face to the sunshine is the epitome of being focused on a goal, even with a multitude of problems as shadows.
So, what does this mean? Sunshine symbolizes hope, warmth, progress, perseverance. Shadows and sunshine, like failures and successes, are two sides of the same coin. Our existence is built on this twin tale of glory and grief, with glory coming from facing the sunshine and grief from being stuck with the shadow. It's about which direction you choose to look. It's a really personal idea. What's a dream or goal you've pursued where others doubted you, and how did you manage to keep your focus on that sunshine? So if we embrace this idea, what specific qualities, what actions does it take to truly evade those shadows? It's more than just mindset, right? Let's look at Nelson Mandela. After decades in prison, when asked what kept him going, he quoted Invictus: "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul, incredible inner strength."
Absolutely. Mandela's indomitable spirit signifies the importance of self-confidence and courage. He lived those words. This was later shown in his efforts to create an egalitarian South Africa through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. His courage allowed him to face the sunshine of a unified nation, rather than dwelling on the shadows of past injustices through bitterness. He chose healing.
That's incredible. When have you needed to draw on your inner self-confidence and courage to overcome a truly significant challenge? Our source emphasizes that desires drive actions. Think of India's freedom struggle revolutionaries. They embodied true patriotism with a profound desire to free Bharat Mata from colonial rule. That longing fueled them.
It raises the question, what if they had focused on the shadows, the repercussions, the colonial power? Had Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Prasad Bismil cared more about those shadows, India would have continued to bleed and suffer. Their courage and desire acted as the fuel, overriding fear. Their sunshine was freedom, and they faced it head on.
That's a powerful reminder. What strong desire or sense of purpose has fueled your own actions, helping you overcome obstacles? The third attribute: perseverance. It keeps the boat of morale sailing higher, especially when things get tough. It's about the grit to continue.
What's fascinating is the relentless efforts of Lee Kuan Yew in building the tech-savvy and egalitarian Singapore. Our source calls it an Oscar-eligible movie of rags to riches. Singapore had no resources, poverty divisions. Lee Kuan Yew pursued a vision for decades with unwavering resolve: education, anti-corruption, infrastructure, social cohesion. It was profound perseverance against countless shadows. The same perseverance is evident in individual efforts, like acing an exam, or a country like India sustaining unity amidst diversity. As Churchill said, no success is final, no failure is fatal. It is the courage to continue that matters.
That's a great quote. Can you think of a time when perseverance was the only way through a difficult situation? The fourth ethos: handling failures and fatalities while keeping your face towards the sunshine. Setbacks are inevitable, sometimes brutal. India was so proud when teenager Avani Lakhara became the first Indian woman to win gold at the Paralympics 2020. An astonishing achievement, especially since she lost her legs in a car accident just years prior, a devastating event for a young, aspiring dancer.
Her spirits didn't dwindle. Keeping the shadow away while facing the sunshine made India proud with Avani's glory. This raises the question, how do we find that strength after immense hardship? It's about refusing to be defined by loss, focusing on what can still be achieved. Her focus wasn't the shadow of her accident, but the sunshine of her potential. Our source also quotes Paulo Coelho from The Alchemist. Once you determine and work hard to achieve a goal, the entire universe conspires to make you realize the achievement. It suggests our unwavering focus can align forces in our favor, even after setbacks. Just keeping your face to the light can shift things.
That's inspiring. How do you personally bounce back from setbacks or fatalities and manage to keep your focus on your goals? These aren't just stories from the past. Our source calls this spirit a contemporary reality check happening right now. These principles are timeless. Think about the efforts in Swat Valley, Pakistan, or India. The world acknowledged Malala Yousafzai and Kailash Satyarthi, both Nobel laureates. Incredible individuals bringing change against huge shadows.
What's fascinating is they didn't represent conflicting nations but universal ideals. Malala for women's empowerment, Kailash for childcare and rehabilitation. Their efforts towards the sunshine weren't dampened by Taliban guns or Indian goons profiting from child labor. The shadow was kept at bay by their grit to achieve an egalitarian goal. Their focus was too bright.
A powerful example. What contemporary causes or individuals inspire you with their unwavering commitment to facing the sunshine despite immense odds? Moving from global to local heroes, our source tells a similar story from the Nyangiri Hills of Odisha, India. Tribals, especially women, collectively stood for their rights and resources.
Their dedication against the mighty Piosco steel giant and crony capitalism is cited as a case study of success and glory for a business school. It shows the power of collective sunshine focus against seemingly insurmountable shadows. Their unity protected their sacred lands, proving even small voices can win when facing the sun.
That's inspiring. How do local communities, demonstrate this sunshine attitude when facing big challenges? Traversing to science, let's delve into ISR's story, starting humbly in Thimba, Kerala in 1963 amidst coconut groves. Our source notes this beginning must have aspired for larger milestones, like India celebrating the success of Chandrayaan-3, landing on the moon's south pole in 2023. What a journey.
Exactly. Despite shadows, financial bottlenecks, administrative delays, infrastructural shortcomings, ISRO's spirit and perseverance remained unbroken. They kept their head high toward sunshine. The shadows shall evade, slowly but surely, as the source says. It's a testament to long-term vision. Highlighting this, Devdutt Patnaik notes that Soma, or Chandra, the moon, symbolizes the fact that it waxes after being waned, resurrects after being crippled down. This reminds us that not just the moon, but cultures, democracies, societies have risen after decay. Shadows are temporary, but the grit to keep your face towards the sunshine makes one extraordinary and triumphant.
A profound reflection. What recent scientific achievement makes you feel that sense of hope embodying this sunshine spirit? Now, this is a crucial nuance. It's not about ignoring the shadow, but understanding its role. Even facing the sunshine, we must remember its inevitability. The shadow is always there. It's how we engage with it that matters.
Consider J. Robert Oppenheimer, father of the atomic bomb. A scientific ideal, yes. But generations in Nagasaki and Hiroshima shall deny such claims. Nolan's biopic wasn't released in Japan. The shadow is too profound. This consequence is the dark shadow following brilliant sunshine, reminding us innovation without ethics can have devastating impacts. Our source highlights figures from Hitler to Martin Luther King Jr., Gulan Devi to Annie Besant, Nirav Modi to Ratan Tata, all gathered attention for right or wrong reasons. It raises the question. When pursuing sunshine, one must be cautious about the shadows cast the consequences. What seems bright can cast a long, dark shadow if not ethically considered. Furthermore, without the shadow of fear, mutually assured destruction, the Cold War nuclear race could have ended civilization. Fear acted as a necessary check on ambition. The shadow served as a grim moral compass.
A stark reminder of responsibility. How can we ensure our pursuits of sunshine don't inadvertently create harmful shadows for others or the future?
What's fascinating is the shadow of failure isn't always a deterrent. It can motivate. Elon Musk's early rocket failures didn't crush his vision. They inspired perseverance and refinement at SpaceX. Failure can be a powerful teacher. History shows humans being taught to be cognizant of their actions. Our source contrasts Mugabe and Mandela again. Both sought national glory, but Mugabe chose violence, Mandela chose forgiveness. The shadow of violent consequences steered Mandela toward a more ethical path. Awareness of negative possibilities can guide positive action. The shadow can highlight the sun.
A profound thought. The shadow as a guide. Has a shadow or fear of failure ever pushed you to succeed, but in a more thoughtful, ethical way? This brings us to a fundamental question. What ultimately should we keep our face towards sunshine for? Scientific prowess? Innovation? Political sovereignty? Economic growth? What's the ultimate why?
The essay offers a dual answer. On one hand, yes, achieve everything mentioned, push boundaries like the Wright brothers. But the perhaps more profound answer is, achieve none of them merely for their own sake. Instead, like the Wright brothers gifting humanity with flight, it's about making the world better, enriching human experience, contributing to the collective good, not just achieving for self or power. The essence remains. The ideals of keep going with committed adherence to achieve the goal is inevitable. Resilience is key. But critically, the shadows shall evade away, but they must remind one the purpose behind keeping the face towards sunshine. It's about constantly remembering why we're striving, ensuring our ambitions serve a higher purpose, letting the shadow define the ethical boundaries of our sunshine.
A powerful and deeply personal question. What ultimately is your sunshine, the driving purpose behind your efforts, the why that keeps you going? Okay, let's do a quick recap of our deep dive today, perfect for active recall, summarizing our coffee discussion into key takeaways.
We began exploring a mind all logic is like a knife all blade, emphasizing logic needs an ethical handle to avoid harm. Without ethics, it leads to negative outcomes, like with Nobel's dynamite initially.
That's right. We saw Nobel's journey from dynamite king to Prince of Peace. We looked at how unchecked economic self-interest causes inequality, how political logic without humanity led to totalitarianism, and how flawed social logic, like the caste system, causes enduring suffering.
And critically, we highlighted logic can be redirected for good. Sustainable development, reformative laws, social inclusivity. Key takeaway, logic serves best when guided by ethos, fostering open societies and selfless goals.
Then we move to keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. Not ignoring problems, but deliberately focusing on hope, goals, resilience, letting challenges fall behind.
Embodied by the Wright brothers' perseverance. Key ingredients, self-confidence, Mandela, desire and purpose, freedom fighters, perseverance, Lee Kuan Yew, ISRO, handling failures, Avani Lakara.
And crucially, the nuanced role of the shadow. Not just something to evade, but something that motivates, reminds of consequences, refines purpose. Shadow of fear prevents catastrophe. Shadow of failure inspires better actions. Musk, Mandela.
Key takeaway, while striving for sunshine, remain mindful of consequences. Ensure the ultimate goal is making the world better, a gift to humanity, not just personal gain. The shadow helps appreciate the sun's purpose.
What an incredible deep dive. We journeyed through logic's landscape and soared into resilience and purpose. We hope you found this thought-provoking and useful, whether prepping for something or just curious.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, both deep dives suggest true progress needs balance. It's not just what we achieve, but how and why. It's the courage for audacious goals, plus the wisdom for ethical purpose, ensuring logic doesn't make hands bleed.
So what does this mean for you? As you go about your day, maybe consider, how can you wield your knife of logic with an ethical handle? And how can you keep your face to the sunshine, not just for yourself, but to light a path for others?
This raises an important question for you to ponder. In a world demanding cutting-edge logic and unwavering resolve, how do you personally integrate empathy, foresight, and collective purpose, ensuring your ambition empowers, not harms, building a better future for all?
A truly powerful thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep making those incredible connections.